What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome back to The Nerdy Narrative. Happy New Year! I hope all of you had a safe and fun time ringing in the new year, 2023. There is just so much this year to look forward to already. I'm just excited. I'm always excited to read a new book. Who am I kidding? Let's just get into this weekly reading wrap-up of all of my recent reads since I updated you all last week. Before we get into the books, I have a new top-tier patron that I want to shout out and say thank you. That is the YouTube channel Chapters We Love. I will, of course, leave a link to their channel in the description box down below. Go check out her last two most recent videos and you'll see exactly why she and I will be great friends. Let's move into what I finished reading last week. I did finish Dreams of Dust by Lily Ann Crow. That is the first book in the Will of the Wayfinder series. I hope I got the name of the series right. That sounds right. That feels right. I don't know how more people are not talking about this book. The author did enter this one into SPFBO 8 this year, and I'm just surprised that people have read this and not raved about it. It had everything I could ask for as a fantasy lover. Found family, it had it. Animal companion, I'm gonna call it an animal companion. I would not tell this entity to its face that I called it an animal companion, but you'll have to read it and find out for yourself. I don't want to say more because I feel that it is a spoiler and I just don't want to ruin that for anybody. It had an intricate magic system that I enjoyed learning. I learned about this magic system throughout the entire novel along with one of the main characters, Daniel Swift. What I've learned so far, it's based around crystals, and then the type of magic performed depends on the individual as well as the type of crystals they use. Some will use cut crystals that are like gems, polished. Some will use crystals in their natural state. They're uncut, they're unfinished. And it's just so neat how they use it, how they will sometimes set them in something metal, like a bracer, because the metal helps the magic user to use their intent and send their magic a little further. It's really good. There are different types of animals that our group encounter because they're traveling across this world in an attempt to find some missing people. There was a bridge that the precept wanted built. These locals started building it. They started disappearing in groups. Then it comes to light, there's a whole town that's missing. So they're traveling across this world, tracking these missing people, and they encounter these different types of creatures, animals that live in these woods, and it's so good. And then there's the different types of races living. It was absolutely an amazing read. I loved it so much. When I got to the last page, of course, on my Kindle, it's like, hey, if you like this one, you should try the next book in the series, which is The River of Stars. And I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and buy that right now. I can't read it right now because I packed too many books on my January TBR, as well as my February TBR, and I think my March TBR, but I'm gonna read it and make time for it as soon as I possibly can. Dreams of the Dust by Lily Ann Crow. The only book from my January TBR that I started on January 1st is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is the 5th and final illustrated edition that is out so far. I don't know that I want to read books 6 and 7 until they come out in the illustrated format. I've just fallen in love. Like, that's my favorite part of this reread, are looking at Jim Kay's illustrations. Of course, books 6 and 7 are going to be done by a different illustrator. Jim Kay said, you know what, this has done a number on my mental health trying to get this done. I've noticed that we're getting less and less illustrations as the books go on, but of course the books get so thick you can't illustrate every scene. So I do understand how difficult that would be. How do you decide what you're going to draw and be inspired by? How do you keep from getting inspired by everything in this series? And once I finished Dreams of Dust, I went right into Nathan Johnson's The Chaos Principle. This is the one that I was talking about last week that was a science fiction sort of technologically advanced murder mystery about Ansel Black, who is apparently the last detective that remains. I did start that one. I am only about 25% of the way through because I've been taking lots of notes. And it feels as though this is a very philosophical read from the perspective of Ansel Black. I'm in love with this character because he is keeping a journal. And this era is considered an abnormality. Can you imagine? I think a lot of us keep journals about the books that we read or just about our daily lives. In addition to the philosophical aspect of Ansel Black's character, he is investigating a set of murders. 5 people are dead. And when you factor in what happens in the prologue, I am so curious to know how we get from the prologue to this pile of bodies that Ansel is investigating to try and figure out who it is that killed them. Now, Ansel is not working this case alone, even though I did say he is the last detective of this age. Annie is helping him. And who is Annie? She is considered annotated intelligence. Now, those of you that have been around the channel for a while, you know this type of tech scares me because I'm just determined that that's where we're headed. So I fully intend to finish that one over the next couple of days. And then where am I going to go next as far as reading? Sadly, I didn't read as much as I thought I was going to over the last week. I have 2 carryovers from December that I'm going to read before I start anything else. That is Bad Cree. I have the art from NetGalley. I meant to read that one and get it reviewed before it published on January 10th. Wait, it hasn't published yet. Is that a challenge this Bookworm is up to get it read and reviewed before January 10th? I'm going to try. And the other one is The Pain Eater by Kyle Muntz. And I know I've told y'all what that book is about a couple of times, either in the TBR video or in a wrap up somewhere. I keep forgetting. What stands out to me for that one is the cover. It's like a chicken scratch ink drawing of a cat, and that's why I wanted to read it, to be honest. But I'm going to get those 2 read next before I start on the rest of my January TBR. It's so hard because I'm looking at those books. I have them over here and I'm just like, man, I want to get started. But I'm going to resist. I'm going to get my January books finished. How goes it for the rest of you? Did you finish your December books? Did you start your January books so far? What was your first book of the year that you read? I would love to hear how everything's going. That's going to do it for me as far as my recent reads this week. If you enjoyed watching this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.